Hey guys, as it's Christmas, I thought I'd do something a little Christmassy and count down my rankings for the Doctor Who Christmas specials. Coming in at 13, there's Twice Upon a Time. It is by far the worst. It basically ruins what came before it. It drains the 12th Doctor's regeneration of any emotion because they drag it out for so long. They butcher the character of the First Doctor, and it's just a giant middle finger to William Hartnell. I don't know what he was thinking by making the First Doctor sexist. After all, we've established now that Time Lords can change genders. So, what do Time Lords do? Do they try and regenerate? Do Time Ladies try to regenerate into men just so they have better rights because they feel discriminated against? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And the First Doctor was not a sexist. He I have seen the first two seasons with the First Doctor, and at best he has a few old-fashioned views. He never makes outright sexist comments. And if any of you are going to bring up that bloody smack bottom line, well, that was to his granddaughter after she did something stupid. This was a grandfather disciplining his child, not a man trying to put a woman in her place. So it drained. So now, having said that, the credit where it's due. I did like the whole Christmas armistice ending. It was beautiful and heartwarming, and I love some of the interactions between 12 and 1, mainly just how innocent the First Doctor is and how horrified he is at seeing what he will become, and uh, obviously him also calling the 12th Doctor out on his overuse of a sonic screwdriver. Put that ridiculous toy away. Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for someone to say that since Series 6. Oh, and Murray Gold was on fire this episode, and in terms of music, he bowed out on a high note there. The Coming in at 12, we've got the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. It really is just a kind of mediocre episode. I don't see it as bad. I don't know why people hate it so much. It's just kind of bland. But there is one thing that brings it up a little for me, and that is the final scene where the Doctor goes back and sees Amy and Rory, and it's just one of the purest scenes in Doctor Who history. The lonely man has found a family again, and it's just so beautiful that Amy and Rory always have a place for him at Christmas. And it's tragic knowing how Amy and Rory end up, and I kind of wish that this scene was their final scene, so we can assume that the Doctor still occasionally goes to have Christmas with them, and it's just off screen. But no. Anyway, coming in at 11, we've got The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Again, I don't get the hate. It's a fun superhero romp, new territory for Doctor Who. It's just a fun, lovable episode. It's entertaining, it does the job, but again, it is quite mediocre, and it's the beginning of the Doctor becoming a cartoon character, with him falling from the window at the beginning, which only gets worse when he fell to Earth. And the grief over River was nicely well done, and of course Capaldi was phenomenal, as he always is. And well, the love story was kind of nice as well, but overall it's kind of forgettable. Coming in at 10, we've got Time of the Doctor. It's as high up as it is because of the emotional Matt Smith speech, and the regeneration was well done, and it rounded off the era nicely. They tied up all the loose ends quite well, but it felt very rushed. It should have been a two-parter. All regeneration stories should, to be honest. And I also don't like how powerful the Doctor has become. They went overkill with half the universe. They should have just made it the Daleks. It would make for a more realistic showdown. Anyway, coming in at 9, we have Last Christmas. Last Christmas is a funny one. The ending drags it down a bit. I mean, God, how many exits does Clara need? But it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, and I love Shona. Why did Clara have to stay on any longer? I needed more Shona. I needed less Clara in season 9. Get on it, Chibnall. Bring Shona into series 12, because that's probably the only thing that's going to get me to watch it. Coming in at 8, we've got The Husbands of River Song. Don't get me wrong, I love the ending. It's why it's as high up as it is, but the rest of the plot is a little ridiculous. It's fun and silly, I suppose, but the cheesiness is just off the charts, and nevertheless, it's entertaining, it does its job, and the ending is a beautiful, emotional thing, and it just goes full circle with River and rounds off her story nicely. I just hope they leave the ending alone now because there's no room for any more River. Her story is finished. Coming in at 7, we've got The Snowman. It's a fun, crazy episode that introduces a much better version of Clara than the one we actually ended up with. Honestly, I actually liked Clara in this episode. It deals with the grief of the Doctor's grief over the ponds, and it's a really fun, solid episode. The Christmas elements fit naturally, unlike others like Time of the Doctor, Return of Doctor Mysterio, Twice Upon a Time, where they just kind of force the Christmas elements in. And it's just a fun, entertaining story all the way through, apart from the ending. Seriously, Moffat, stick with the memory worm. That made sense. A whole family crying on Christmas Eve. Are you flipping serious? I know it's a family show, but your target audience are not 4 years old. Coming in at 6, we have The Runaway Bride. For the most part, it's a fun, enjoyable Christmas invasion story. We get an introduction to Donna, but the thing that really makes this episode for me is that final showdown with Arachnos. I mean, holy crap, the Doctor is a flipping monster. The flooding, the burning, the Arachnos crying, and the Doctor just stands there deadpan. Oh, I mean, we just haven't seen the Doctor with that kind of darkness since Tennant left, and it's just, which is a shame because imagine how terrifying Capaldi would be with this scene. Oh my goodness, Capaldi would nail this. Coming in at 5, we have The Next Doctor. Unpopular opinion here, I love the Cyber King, and the story is just the definition of a fun, enjoyable adventure, something Doctor Who seemed to lose in Series 11. It's funny, action-packed, bombastic, and entertaining, while also delivering a few emotional beats with Jackson Lake. He was really quite a tragic character, and David Morrissey played him to perfection. And the ending with Christmas dinner in memory of those we lost, it was a beautiful thing, and the Doctor finally receiving thanks for his work, and it was like the pick-me-up the Doctor needed after Journey's End, and it feels so satisfying to see the Doctor get a good day after all he went through in Journey's End, and it just gives me a really warm feeling inside, and I just love it. Coming in at 4, we have Voyage of the Damned. Over the top, cheesy, maybe that's my thing, but I just find this episode so much fun to watch. The characters are likable, their deaths are hard hitting, and it's if the Doctor saying Alonzi Alonso after all that time doesn't put a smile on your face, you are dead inside. I think Astrid's death was very well done. It hit really hard, and I know a lot of people probably found Max a bit ridiculous, but I loved him, and he felt much more like a real villain because he actually had a kind of money sort of motivation as opposed to just conquer Earth because why not? And I can't really explain much more about why I love this episode, but I just love it so much. Coming in at 3, we got The End of Time. Okay, I can't be the only one who starts to get annoyed about the Doctor regenerating at Christmas. Seriously, let the Doctor regenerate like a series finale or something for once. Anyway, it was fine for this episode, but it's getting ridiculous now. I know I'm going to receive hell for this. Yes, The End of Time is wild, cheesy, over the top, a little bit crazy, and that is why I love it. No matter who you are, if 7 billion masters dancing about and laughing doesn't put a smile on your face, you are likely dead inside. We also have the legendary badass that is Wilfred Mott, the best companion ever, except for Ian. And his scenes with the Doctor are so emotionally powerful and it's just so beautiful. Regardless of what you think of the 10th Doctor's regeneration, I think it was done beautifully and very tragic. It's just the stakes are so high and the threat feels real. Timothy Dalton as Rassilon was the perfect choice and he is so damn intimidating. And that scene where the Doctor finally picks up a gun, you know the stakes have gone well up and you know shit has just gotten real. And it all leads to this really tense, emotional, and just full on epic showdown. And 10 went out with a bang and it was just incredible. The reward scene at the end may be a little drawn out, but it's rounding off an era, and it is just nice to see an epilogue for each of the companions, considering we'll most likely never see them again. Still waiting for Captain Jack to come back, I'm going through John Barrowman withdrawal. Coming in at 2, we have the Christmas Invasion. This one wasn't high on my list to begin with, but upon rewatch, I found it to be one of the second best post-regeneration stories in the new series, and probably the old as well, although Spearhead is coming close. This episode is a lot of fun, and it's also kind of tense and hopeless as the threat looms ever closer, but the Doctor hasn't recovered yet, and taking the Doctor out of play, the stakes automatically just go well up because you know the Doctor isn't just going to show up and save the day, and that people are just going to have to deal with it on their own, and we just see that struggle. And but and it maybe seems a little risky to keep the Doctor unconscious for so long, but the moment Tennant steps out that TARDIS, oh my goodness, he is definitively the Doctor in those few minutes on screen, and he just his performance is just awe-inspiring, and he takes on the Sycorax leader in a sword fight and introduces this ruthless, no-nonsense Doctor who was all but gone by the next episode when he gives Cassandra a second chance. But never mind, it was a great episode, and I just think we need more sword fights in Doctor Who. I think every Doctor should have a chance to do that at least once. Although, I mean, the best we got was the 12th Doctor spooning Robin Hood. And of course, number one is, if you've been by power of deduction, you've probably worked out, is A Christmas Carol. I was blinded to the brilliance of this episode for so long, and I didn't find anything that special with it on first watch, but upon rewatching it, I found it was a beautifully crafted, tragic love story, and how the Doctor deals with Kazaran is such a beautiful thing. It just screams Doctor. Instead of making some threat to force him into submission, he just goes straight for the heart and gives Kazaran the Christmases he always wanted, and showed him what he could become, but also what he had become, but he also showed him what he could be, and that is just so reminiscent of Matt Smith's Doctor. Who just always sees the potential in people, and Kazaran was a very interesting character who was played to perfection by Michael Gambon, and that final song to Abigail too, it was just so beautiful. Her voice is incredible. Oh, and that Amy and Rory cosplay joke went over my head for years.
Shut up. Oh, Amy! The lights stopped flashing. Does that mean he's coming?
Honeymoon suite.
Oh, the clothes. It is just a bit of fun.
Amy, shut up.
Wow. And of course, let's not forget the classic Feast of Stephen, which I've never seen, apparently doesn't exist anymore, and supposedly wasn't very good anyway. Well, that about sums up my list. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.